Chief prosecutor on the Gusto case says the suspect could face up to 9 years in prison. Plus, in today's lifestyle segment, contrary to popular belief, coffee does not get you dehydrated. And a parade tracker can tell you whether the carnival parade has started, where all the groups are, and additional information of each section. 15 on 15 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. The suspected bouncer who punched the 22-year-old student at Gusto, in which led to his death, could be facing a maximum sentence of 9 years. We were able to speak to the chief prosecutor in charge of this case, Peter Blanken, for more details.
The suspect, with initials RJV, is being charged with mishandling or mistreatment that led to a person's death. Chief Prosecutor Peter Blanken says it is irrelevant whether the ultimate reason for the death of 22-year-old Shahbaz Hussain was due to the punch or the impact from falling to the ground.
For us, it's not really important. What is important is that he gave a punch and that the victim fell on the floor, on the tiles, and that caused brain damage, and that caused the death. So he wouldn't have been falling on the tiles when he wouldn't have been hit, but it's not really important for us what we know and what we can see after our investigation, that the cause of death is the punch against the head and the fall afterwards when he hit his head against the tiles.
A police report states after the blow in the face the victim suffered, he fell out of a car in the care of his friends. Prosecutor Blanken says because it was the punch that led the instances afterwards, there is no bearing on the second fall.
For us, the main thing is that he got a punch in his head, that he fell on the floor, on the tiles with the right side of his head. And there was this brain damage, which was related to that. So that is for us the most important thing. And we know that he fell out of the car, but for us, the main thing is that the cause of death is because of the blow and the fall on the floor with his right side to the floor.
The charges being made are to the individual himself. Gusto is not liable for the death caused by one of their employees.
Well, the investigation of the prosecutor is against the person who hit the victim, who caused his death, and that is what our investigation is all about, nothing more and nothing less.
The family of Shahbaz Hussain requested for the victim to not undergo an autopsy. It is against the family's religion. The prosecuting team respected that.
It is a decision of the prosecutor. But of course, when we can respect the wish of the family, and in this case it was a religious wish not to do an autopsy, we decided to do a view on the body, the patholog view on the body, and we did an examine of the scans made by the hospital. And then we said, well, it is obviously that the cause of death is a brain damage.
The next hearing for the case is scheduled for Tuesday, March 4th, 2014. The chief prosecutor says the suspect will be in prison in preventative custody until the next court session, which will be in a few months. Coming up in our lifestyle segment, we'll talk about the art of persuasion. Also, we'll give you 4 specific scenarios where you are most likely to break your diet, and we'll tell you about the issue of getting dehydrated when you're drinking coffee. All that and more next. Welcome back from the break. Have you ever heard people say that coffee can get you dehydrated? Well, Dorshan Salmon finds out otherwise.
researchers have determined that a caffeine kick doesn't cause dehydration. The effects of moderate coffee consumption and consumption of water was taken a look at. The results showed that there is no direct link between moderate coffee consumption and dehydration were found. It is a common belief that drinking cups of joes can lead to dehydration and should be avoided. Researchers have determined that a caffeine kick doesn't cause dehydration. The effects of moderate coffee consumption and consumption of water was taken a look at. The results show that there is no direct link between moderate coffee consumption and dehydration were found. It is a common belief that drinking cups of joes can lead to dehydration and should be avoided or reduced in order to maintain a healthy fluid balance. But in reality, coffee can actually contribute to your daily fluid requirements.
Moving forward, there are 4 specific times when you are tempted the most to break your diet. Between work, working out, and keeping up with your friends and family, life often gets you in the way of your healthy eating plan. Knowing this, British researchers set out to find which exact life situations make you want to cheat on your diet the most. You are most tempted to stray from your healthy eating plan when it is late at night, when you are tired, when alcohol is involved, or when you're hanging out with your friends. So try to notice whether this holds true in your life and act accordingly. The art of persuasion is a tough skill to perfect. Take a look at this video to find out which is the best route to go about when you really want to influence someone into doing something.
It's time to talk about the psychology of persuasion. A few years ago, researchers approached house owners and asked them to place a huge sign saying "Drive carefully" in their front gardens. Everyone refused. The researchers then approached a second group and asked them to place a small "Drive carefully" sign in their gardens. Almost everyone agreed. 2 weeks later, the researchers asked those in the second group to replace the small sign with a large one, and an amazing 76% of people accepted. Psychologists call this the foot in the door effect. Agreeing to a small request makes people far more likely to then agree to a much bigger one. So if you want to persuade someone to do something, start small before moving big.
And on that note, we will be right back. This is what we have coming up next. Check it out. One of the main questions people in the carnival and spectators have is, has the parade started yet, and the location of certain groups on the route. The publisher of Bacchanal has come up with a parade tracker to provide everyone on the island with all the necessary information they need to know about the parades.
Chibi van der Hans is the brain behind the Bacchanal parade tracker. They have tested these devices during the children's parade by sticking them in the beginning of each group's first road piece. This is the first year the GPS devices are being tested. There is still work to be done.
For the children parade in Oranjestad, we encounter some problems. One being, I will have to ask someone in each group to replace the battery when it's drained. That's not so difficult. The second problem, though, is with the signal. The signal comes from Cetar, and when there is a agglomeration of too much people in one certain area, it becomes too heavy for the antenna, and then it will block the signal, and it will look like that it's stuck, that the dots on the route representing each group is stuck. So we are working on that, and we are hoping to solve the problem for coming parades in St. Nicolas and in Oranjestad.
For anyone who wants to be more informed on the parades, all they have to do is go to the Bacchanal website, click on Bacchanal Parade Tracker. A Google map will then open up with dots representing each carnival group. Once you click on one of the dots, everything you need to know about that specific group will be provided. Chibi says the tracking device will even help media outlets during their broadcasting.
When the parade reaches your kabel, where ATV stands, you will see several road pieces and several sections. And when you press on the dot on the dot representing made a carnival group, a list will open with the explanation of each section, of each road piece, the designer, who's standing in it. So you will have online explanation of what you're seeing.
Chibi says it is a shame that spectators don't know more about the beautiful costumes, road pieces, and groups that they see in every parade.
In my opinion, people that do this, they spend a lot of money, time, and effort making those beautiful things for people not to exactly know what they're seeing, not exactly understand what they're seeing. So I'm trying to provide all of those people with information.
The tracking system will be up and running for the Grand Parade in St. Nicholas and Oranienstad. If you want to see whether the parade has started, where each group is on the route, and for some information regarding each section, go to www.arubabacchanal.com. Then from there, you click on the Bacchanal Parade Tracker. That is our show for today. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here with a brand new edition of the show starting at 7:15 p.m. right here on Channel 15, 8TV.